I'm Rex Sikes. In SAG, I'm Rex Steven Sikes. I live in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, and as well as Los Angeles. And I am an author, speaker, filmmaker, and actor. And dad, most of all. Well, my parents put me into dancing class when I was 3 and acting classes at 4. And so I learned ballet and tap and how to be a tree and a dog and and an animal and that kind of thing. And by 4, I was in acting class learning to be a tree and a bear and a dog and a flower and a puppy or whatever. And at the age of 4, sitting on my mother's lap, I watched movies like every Saturday. And one time I saw Duck Soup with the Marx Brothers and said, that's when I wanted to do that. At that point, somehow inside me, I had the desire to be an actor. By the time I was 6 or 7, I wanted to be a priest. I wanted to be a mystic. I wanted to be somehow metaphysically connected, but I wanted to be an actor and a priest. And around 11, I started making movies in 6th and 7th grade with other neighbor kids, classmates, where we did animations and live action movies, where you actually had to buy film and have it processed and edit it, cutting it and scotch taping the film together, 8mm, Super 8mm, and 16mm film. And I loved it. I loved it. I went from doing a lot of non-union work and working a lot in Hollywood, which at the time non-union was really sketchy. You didn't know if you were going to get paid. You didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. You could do legitimate film work and end up in a porno, for example. But in 1974, I did a movie called Goodbye Norma Jean. So they cast me to play essentially a masher. I try and pick up Marilyn Monroe in a movie theater in a much loathed film biopic called Goodbye Norma Jean. The director was a guy named Larry Buchanan, and people don't like it because it disparaged her image. But I try and pick her up in a movie theater, and she ends up dumping popcorn on me. Misty Rowe, who was on Hee Haw and was in Things Are Rotten, was like, I want to thank you. And I said, why? She goes, the guy who was supposed to mash on me yesterday, I'm bruised, I'm scratched, he really did. She said, you at least were respectful. I'm no worse to wear having worked with you. It's been really pleasant. And we developed a friendship at the time, and I would see her at Paramount and different things. So that was the first thing. It got me into the union, and from then, later I did Massacre at Central High, where I co-starred as Rodney, and nobody understands how big this film was at the time because it didn't seem very big in the United States, but it played for a year in France, consistently. At the time, we had fan clubs around the world, but we never got any of the stuff because it wasn't a US-based thing and there was no internet. Roger Ebert considered it one of his favorite films. The New York Times put it in the top 10 or 20 film list. It became a message about social commentary and how the peons are held down by a ruling class. The bullies in the school were tormenting the kids. And then once the bullies were removed, the kids who were tormented became bullies. But those two were probably the crowning moments early in my career. My children. I moved to raise my children because I didn't want to be a summer dad. So I became a Wisconsin resident again so that my children and I could have a relationship. I got divorced when they were young, and the best decision I've ever made in my life was to raise my kids, which I have done, and so I see them to this day, and it was the best thing I ever did. Filmmaking in Wisconsin has been like a roller coaster ride. There's good times and not so good times, but the good times were always the one where it was just being with the people because they were really good people. It had nothing to do with the filmmaking experience. It was the camaraderie, the friendships that developed as a result. I worked with Sean and Phil. We did all these little 48-hour film festival type projects. One was called The Leprechaun. It's just a crazy little piece that's somewhere out on YouTube. But it was fun. It was great to do. Spade County Massacre was one where I play a sheriff in a town that weird stuff is going on, and they wanted me to do this part, and they brought me on the very first day of filming. We were somewhere out of town. When they brought me onto that, they were like, we're gonna blow your socks off. They made the biggest craft food table I've ever, craft service table I've ever seen. They cooked steak and chicken. I mean, they had this lavish thing for the first day of shooting. And after that, it went back to like, you know, little crackers and cheese and Subway and stuff. But I'm kidding. But they wanted me to feel at home. They wanted me to be impressed. They wanted me to know how much they valued having me there. I mean, that kind of stuff is truly wonderful. I worked with this guy named Pfister on a bunch of projects. That was really good. I don't know whatever happened to him. That's you. And working with you has always been a good experience. So I appreciate that. The film where I'm doing weird stuff with the donuts, playing a cop in The Unknown, and some of the 48-hour film things have truly been fun. But the last one with Phil, where we played lovers, was really a treat. Well, I'm so glad you asked. This is my book. I recently wrote Life on Your Terms, Create the Life That You Want. And it's an incredible book because it's actually got some stuff in it for actors and on improv. But truly what it's about is how to manage your mindset and your feelings to create the life that you want and or the career. So for filmmakers and actors, it's absolutely crucial because what it does is it helps you understand what you need to do. Sometimes you can't change the industry or the circumstance, but you can up-level and upgrade yourself. The internal attitude that makes you a champion so that you pursue your goals and you get what you want to get in life by going after it. This book tells you exactly how to do that. I'm very pleased with this. I teach online programs that include the material from my book, which I started doing live events. We bought in the sense that we rented a 100-acre retreat for about 10 years where people would fly in from all around the world to train with me from 3 days to a couple of months at a time and learn these very same skills. So I do Rex Sikes' Movie Beat, which was conversations with filmmakers, which teaches you what to do and what not to do. I have professional filmmakers, both on camera, actors and talent, and those behind the scenes, directors, producers, screenwriters, DPs, and the like, discussing what you need to know as a filmmaker. I've got over 500 hours of those shows. And I do Create Your Best Life with Rex, which is about the kind of topics that we cover in the book. The potential to do good work with great people. I just recently received a screenplay from a producer friend of mine with the idea that perhaps I can come on as a producer and or talent in the project. Recently completed a picture called Shooting Star, directed by Michael Pfeiffer, written by Michael Pfeiffer and Peter Sherayko, who is Texas Jack in Tombstone, the movie Tombstone. And Peter and Michael, both very prolific and wonderful filmmakers. The person I did most of my scenes was with Michael Paré, the film actor, Larry Poole, another marvelous actor. But it's the opportunity to meet people. It doesn't matter whether they're new or whether they're seasoned. Everybody has something to offer and something to give and something that's good. And I think of filmmaking as like you're going on a camping trip, and it's like, who do you want to go with you? You know, you're going to be isolated in the woods somewhere. You're going to find the best people and have the most fun. That's what the movie experience can be like. It's not always, obviously. Sometimes there's not that good of an experience, but it's the opportunity for having that experience. It's the opportunity to connect and to develop relationships with people who are on the way up, people who are on the way out, who've done things for a long time. It's just the potential and the enjoyment is infinite, and that keeps me going. There's so many good things to get involved with, and I think movie making, and especially television today, is first class. Love it. Love it. Get into film because you love film. Study it. Imbibe it. Be passionate about it. Get to know everything, all the nooks and crannies, all who the stars were. Learn the history of filmmaking. As a filmmaker, be nice. It is your relationships, the connections that you develop. I was a total dick when I was a young guy. You know, I'd walk in and complain to the casting assistant or whatever. The casting assistant, the reader of your screenplay, the receptionist in the office of the person you're taking a meeting, those people you got to treat really well, because those are the people who will be the producers, the directors, the studio heads tomorrow. So you want to make sure all your relationships, you cultivate wonderful relationships, you thank people. There's so many moving parts and so many pieces that all fit together. If you're one who helps it all come together and make the experience marvelous, you will work a lot, because your reputation will precede you. If you're a dick, your reputation will precede you and you're not going to work very much. Stick with it and don't let anything dissuade you from making your dreams come true.